Hey YouTube, it's the Home Server Show, episode number 91. We're recording this on October the 14th, 2015. This is an audio podcast. We're going to be talking about my HTPC is better than yours. We'll be talking about some storage news, all that good stuff. This is a long form video. This thing's going to be an hour and a half long. This is not a 3-minute review on HTPCs and which one to pick or which one to build. But hey, if you want to listen to the audio, we're going to be talking about it. So listen, it's going to be in the second half of the show, and we'll discuss that. So I just want to let you know, if you clicked in here on a Google search, I understand we use this YouTube thing to capture audio and to be able to do this live. It works out really well for podcasters. I apologize if you need a 3-minute review. However, I do have a cool forum for you, homeservershow.com/forums. HTPC stuff like crazy out there, and these guys know what they're talking about. I would consider Jim and I sometimes amateurs in the HTPC world. These guys are good. So, although Jim, I've been doing Media Center since XP.
I know.
That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Been doing this.
I think 07 for me. I think I've had a media center of some type. Yeah. Oh wow.
I've had them all. I've had every digital streaming box known to mankind, starting back in like 1999 with a CD player from Dell that streamed MP3s from your computer to the little thing, and it was horrible. I sent that back. And then Gateway Computer, back in the day, the Cowbox computer people, Gateway Computer did the same thing, a little DVD player that streamed media from an applet you put on a PC. Used that forever. I've been doing some sort of streaming.
I kind of got in on the TV cards. That was when I started. You could get the cards and put those in and plug the cable into it. I think, trying to think of when I was a big all-in-wonder. The ATI all-in-wonder cards. I think I've had 3.
I was a Hotbog guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I was a Hotbog. I don't know if that's pronouncing that right.
I think it is Hot Pog.
Hotpogenes.
Sounds like Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets.
Yeah, I still have a ton of them. I keep a couple of them because you can always use them as input cards. They have input jacks where you could input SD audio or video. I don't know why I keep them.
Yeah, maybe I do VCR or maybe to.
Yeah, man, I do have I have like an HDMI capture card too,
right.
And I have converters, and I got too much crap. I need to purge.
For sure.
Got to purge. All right, so we're going to record this audio. Good to see you live stream. Somebody says it's lagging.
The chat is lagging.
Okay, the chat is lagging. Yeah, the chat's always like 30 seconds behind. So.
Well, no, I mean it really is. If you type and hit enter, it's taken.
Oh, really?
A full 20 seconds for the text to show up.
Wow.
Yeah.
For me. Here. Oh, there it is. Off into Never Never Land. Wonder who they're using. Yeah. Never had that happen. We've had this chat since almost day one of live podcast. So we got to go anyway. Sorry. Testing, testing, testing. Okay. This is the Home Server Show, episode number 291, recorded on October the 14th, 2015. My HTPC is better than yours. Welcome back to the Home Server Show. I'm your host, Dave, joined here by Mr. Jim Collison. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Thanks, Dave. Happy Wednesday evening to you. Man, it feels like a million years since we've done this together.
I was like confused because I looked at my OneNotes for tonight's show, and I had some stuff filed away for the show. And I hit you on Messenger. I'm like, did we podcast and I just didn't publish it? Because I felt like I did a show and it's not showing up. So it's been too long. I apologize for that. It has been too long. Life takes over when this school season starts. And football and, all this stuff is going on. Meetup and things do get crazy. and so I apologize for that. So we're back, Home Server Show. We're doing this live, although the chat room is lagging just a little bit, so it's going to be kind of funny. If you're on YouTube, you can join us in our free lagging chat room over at homeservershow.com/live. No credentials needed. Just put your name on and boom, you're in chatting. Don't forget, we are a member of the Geeks Network, thegeeksnetwork.com for more great forums and podcasts just like this one. And we have added new podcasts. I got 2 new podcasts for you. Members of the Geeks Network. These guys are great. One, don't forget we have the Smart Home HQ podcast. Chris Compton over there came to Meetup 15. If you're interested in home automation, you should be listening to his show, Smart Home HQ podcast. All you got to do is go over to the Geeks Network and click on that. But I've got a new one for you. Jim, this is one we've been chasing for quite some time, and he's a great guy. We're going to see him in 2 weeks. Mr. Richard Hay with the Observe Tech podcast is jumping on board the Geeks Network. He brings a great look at Microsoft and Microsoft products in the world of the news in Microsoft. A lot of the stuff that I don't like to do is like, what the company's doing and the CEO, and I like covering the gear. Although he does cover the gear,
but he's a
I
numbers
like covering
guy.
the news.
He's a numbers guy, right? He'll have all the numbers for you, right? So it's just, I just listened to the newest one this morning, and where he made the announcement that he was coming over to the Geeks Network, and I was like, yeah, awesome, he's finally in. That's the one, kind of Rich is the one, if I need to catch up on everything that's Microsoft, he's going to have everything in there. Not a lot of opinion, it's just him, he's reporting it, it's kind of the facts. Great one to listen to from that standpoint.
It is the place to go. And it's windowsobserver.com, but please go to the Geeks Network, thegeeksnetwork.com. Click all of those links. Make sure you subscribe to all of them. And those boys at Agnostic Tech Podcast are back. They pushed a show out today, and I really enjoyed it. Darren Cohen and John Waskowski, my ex-Surface Geeksers, broke off, and they're covering a very wide gamut of tech news. It tends to be mobile. They love their mobile tech, but anything they're buying, they are reviewing, and it is a wonderful show. So please go check that out at the Geeks Network. I am so proud of what we've created. We have a great set of podcasts. We've got Open Mic Night. We've got I can't even remember all of them, Jim. I've got Surface Geeks out there.
Geekinator? No.
We got Kyle Button, and he's got 2 shows out there, Geekinated, and he's also got Missing Remote, and those guys go way back. So, and we're going to kind of eke into their territory tonight, those Missing Remote guys. We're talking HTPCs, and actually we're going to put my Media Center HTPC up against Jim's, and we're going to fight it out to the death. And one of us, we're going to sign pink slips, and then we're going to sign UPS shipping labels, and the winner gets them both.
Wow.
Not really. I think our family would kill us. But I just created a new duel.
I do like it.
Pink slips. We're racing for pinks. Okay, so I want to, before we get into that, I want to talk to you something. I talked to my Surface Geeks podcast guys last week about ad blockers. Ad blockers seem to be like really high in the news. And I'm doing this public spot here, not only for my podcast, but for all the Geeks Network podcast. I really think that if you run an ad blocker, and I do, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I run uBlock in my Chrome browser, and I'm not saying that it's the best, but it does cut down on a whole bunch of cruft. But one thing that I am sure to do, if I go to Jim Collison's site, I add him in I'm going to call it a whitelist, and I say, I trust this site. I'm okay with this site, because this is his site's livelihood, is to be able to run a small little JavaScript and capture some Amazon links or something. And that's what I do. So what I'm asking is, if you visit any site on the Geeks Network and you run a blocker, just open it up. You're not going to get junk from us. You're not going to get, what are those crazy crap ads? Taboola and people holding funky food and saying, with the tagline, don't eat this food, causes cancer, or whatever, big Hooters in an icon, just trying to get you to click it. And that's all they're trying to do, is get a click. They don't care about the traffic. They don't care about you. They're just trying to get a click. Or they don't care about the quality. You know what I'm saying? So just add us to your whitelists, because that's it also takes away, we monetize our links. So if someone says, hard drive A at Newegg, and you run an ad blocker, it will strip off the monetization link. And that monetization link, all it does is send you to Newegg with my company name, and you get the same price, but I get a penny or two back. Doesn't change anything for you. So
Yeah, I think that's the most important one. Is not because the banner ads and such. That's one thing, but we sure do rely a lot on those links, and
we do, and it
I think
helps.
yeah.
Honestly, it pays for
But
hosting. I say that a lot, and if someone makes a PayPal donation, the first thing I say is, I'm going to apply your money on next month's hosting bill, unless you have earmarked it for something different. And sometimes folks do. Sometimes folks will mail me a check and say, hey, this goes to Meetup, or something like that. But you're right, and those ad blockers strip off a JavaScript, and it's a simple little JavaScript. I run WordPress, and it runs in there. And I'm going to tell you about a company called Skimlinks. I'm going to tell you about them later. But you hurt the little guy, so don't. Remember that if you go to other sites too. Now, I'm going to tell you, if the other guy or the other little guy, if they run crazy crappy ads, block them. Man, block them. That's their fault for running that garbage. And I'm talking to sites like CNET and PC World and all those Ziff Davis sites that run that garbage. Block the ads. You'll have a better user experience. Okay, Synology news. It's on the front page of homeservershow.com. There's a new disk station manager, but it's beta. So if you have a fairly new, I'm going to say 2012 and newer disk station, and it's not running live data, you can run this beta. So let's clear that up. Synology betas usually tend to be very good, and I have never had them like crater data, but you never know. So if you're not running live data, test it out, because generally Synology betas are really cool. They bring out new features and they want you to tear them up. So it's really cool. But the reason I'm telling you this is, when they put out their information to me this time, I'm thinking, okay, Jim, this is how it always works. I've got a new beta that's coming out in October. They're going to launch this thing at CES, right?
mm-hmm.
That has been their roadmap for the last 2 or 3 years. And they've already said, no, we're going to run this beta slow. We're going to make sure the quality is there. We're going to make sure the security is there. Tear it up, hack it, and it'll be ready when it's ready. So I thought that was really cool. So tear it up. And the best thing to do it with is, if you go to Amazon or just check out in the forums, we talk about it all the time, find a single bay or a 2-bay Synology and get it for $100, $200, and then you can play with it and test it. And when you do that, every Synology Disk Station Manager comes with a 2-camera license. You can run 2 security cameras off of that and play with that as well. So, all right. They also have some new gear. Synology announced 2 brand new disk stations. They announced some rack stations last month, but this time it's disk station DS416 and a DS216 Play. Now what they're trying to do is get into this situation where they are transcoding better and more efficient with their processors and their software. So that's what they're aiming at when they release a 216 Play. Works really good for, they say 4K. Now, I'm not going to go there. We're not going to argue about 4K. But features real-time 1080p video transcoding capabilities. Now there's some caveats in there, I think, but they're getting better at it. So the streaming and the transcoding is coming in for Synology. All right, Jim. I mentioned CES. I wanted to talk real quick about our schedule coming up in the next couple of months, because it's going to get crazy.
It is. It's coming up fast too.
Yeah, and I'm off both podcasts next week, so there'll be nothing from me on that side. But the week after, I think the week after, we're going out to Redmond, aren't we? In 2 weeks,
Yeah, 2 weeks.
two
No,
and a
I think
half.
yeah, we'll have 1 week in between there, right before Redmond. We'll do Home Gadget Geeks both weeks, but yeah, then no Friday. Actually, I'll leave Friday the 31st. I'm trying to figure out a way to get a band here at the local store. So that's one of the things here in the Omaha store. I'm hoping. Don't you think they'll have the bands available on the 30th in the
There's,
stores?
I don't know, Jim. When Jim talks of this band, he's talking about Microsoft Band version 2.
Yeah.
And I've already conceded that mine is not going to arrive.
I know. When I was in Washington D.C. when the announcement was made. You know, I couldn't. That's why I couldn't make the podcast last week
Right.
for Surface Geeks, and I had it all lined up on my phone ready to buy, and then it was like, wait a minute, it's gonna come while I'm at conference, and I thought, well, okay, if I'm gonna wait anyways, I might as well see if I can Jones it in a store, on the 30th or the 31st. So I'm going to be in Omaha. I'm going to try the store on the 30th. So we'll see. I'll just check in. It's a good time to check in, anyways. And then because they should have some of the new devices that are out at that point, I would think too as well in the stores. They may have something out there to show.
Hey, Microsoft Store. I need to look at my receipts, but I will sign in real quick to see if anything's changed. How about that?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. I'm just going to see. Usually, when the bands came out the first time, the Omaha store was one of the few stores around the country that actually had them in supply, and I ended up not doing it. But I would like to go in and try one on. I know we weren't supposed to talk about this, but
It's okay.
um,
It's it's
yeah, yeah.
these guys know the Microsoft stuff, and we've talked about the band before. And I went to the store, Jim, and I tried on the band. Now it's still a bulky device. It's
Yeah.
still
So
big,
they
and I
have
think
bands now. They've got sample bands in the
they've
stores right
got
now.
samples.
Okay.
My
I'll have to
store
stop
had a
by.
medium. They could
Oh.
try on a medium, and I think I have a smaller wrist, and I think for your big club of a wrist, Jim, you're gonna love this thing. You're a bigger guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kid you. You
No.
are going to love
Yeah.
Band 2. It's a gorgeous curve,
Yeah.
and
That's.
it's
I
not
said I
that.
wouldn't buy it until they curved it,
Yeah,
and it's kind of everything. I heard Rich describing it this morning on Windows
it's
Observer,
gorgeous.
and yeah.
The sides of the band are pure, just the strap,
Hmm.
and the buckle is a little bigger because they've put everything around that buckle and the battery case and everything. It's got a good, nice curve to it. It's a beautiful device, and I hope out there, everybody out there has pre-ordered one, but if you haven't pre-ordered one, you can get straight to the Microsoft Store if you go to surfacegeeks.net/surface, and that takes you, to the Microsoft Store.
And
Now,
let me say, if you haven't listened to last week's Surface Geeks, you should go back and listen to that.
oh, it's a heck of a show.
It's packed with just
Two
all kinds of
hours.
stuff. I had to eventually, I had to wake up super early the next day, so I eventually had to call it quits. I was in the chat room.
You
I was
did.
in
We
the hotel
outlasted
room.
you, Jim. I
Yeah, no,
can't
you
believe it.
did. That hardly ever happens. But I had to get up. Was doing a presentation the next day, and I needed to be up early to get that done. And so I said, guys, I got to get in bed. But lots of great information about the announcement. So if you haven't gone back and done that, you want to listen to last week's Surface Geeks.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Mine still says ships by October 30th. So for Jim and I, who leave that weekend, if they shipped it overnight Saturday delivery, that'd be nice. But I know that's not going to
No,
happen.
I leave Friday morning. I leave the morning of the 30th, and so my plan is I get into Portland early enough that I could swing by a store. I could swing by the Microsoft store in Portland and maybe see if, because Rich said today on the show, he was like, he's going to try and get one in Redmond, and I am like,
Good
you're
luck.
crazy, Rich Hay.
Good luck.
You are
Now,
crazy. That's never going to happen.
supposedly these things are supposed to be available on the 26th. Isn't
Oh.
that right? Or are the bands going to the 30th?
I
Everything
thought-
else is the
yeah.
26th.
Oh, well, maybe it'll be available on the 26th.
Okay, so
I
let's
need to
go
swing
through
by the Microsoft store is what I need.
Yes. Let's go through the rest of my order, just since you got me here.
Yeah,
and
let's
I
talk
like
about it.
talking about this stuff. I ordered a Surface Book.
Oh, good.
A brand new
Which one
laptop,
did you get? What configuration?
entry level.
Okay.
Entry level. 128 gigabyte Intel Core i5 with no discrete GPU. I know that's the selling point. It's got a discrete GPU, but I thought, when's the last time I've ever like downloaded a 2 gigabyte game and played? And I haven't. And I don't crunch video that is that intense. I don't do CAD, you know? I
Mm-hmm.
sit and I do all kinds of different things on the couch, and I hit my WordPress and security and forums and my Amazon stuff and my Microsoft stuff. That's what I do. And I would
Yeah.
love to do it on this Surface Book. Now, this says arrives by October 26th.
Hmm.
This is a global launch date of this thing is October 26th. So they're having it arrive on that date. So if I click my calendar, which it hasn't changed, October 26th is the Monday
Monday.
prior.
Yeah.
So I'll have a whole week, Jim, to configure this thing, throw it in a bag, and fly. Now, I'll
That'd be great.
also have you know I'm going to be at the Microsoft Store at October 26th at whatever time they open. And if they have bands in stock, I will probably buy a band right then and there. And I'll figure out something to do with the extra one that shows up, when I get back from Summit. I would like to have one when we go to Summit, because we put on some miles
Right.
walking, and we always check, our steps, and we check, my steps against your Garmin, and we always checked my band against Brian Friedlander's. He had that other thing. What's it called? It's the most famous one.
Fitbit.
Fitbit, the bit of fit. So we always check those. So I don't want to get us derailed. I'm
Right.
excited about my Surface Gear and the Band 2, and it's supposed to arrive October 26th.
No, I think it's have a good update. You guys talked about it last week. Good to sit down and
Yeah, if you
kind
want
of
to
think
drill
through.
down into the hardware specifics, you definitely want to check out Surface Geeks of last week. Okay, CES, Jim?
Yeah. No.
No.
No, I have a son joining the Marines this weekend, and that's going to fall smack dab. His graduation in San Diego is going to fall smack dab in the middle of or the end of January. And I'm taking the family. It's going to be a really expensive weekend or week to go see him graduate. And so I've opted out of CES. So I'll be here for it again, and we'll figure out, how we're going to cover it. It's gotten so different. CES has gotten so different. There's so much coverage. Where
Yeah.
it used to be just us, it was cool to do it because nobody else was doing it, but now you got the big boys doing it.
True. True. If anybody out there, if you guys are going and you're booked and you've got badges, please let me know. I need a reason to go, and I love to go, and I need a reason to actually spend that money, because it's expensive. It really is. So I have yet to book anything, Jim. I don't have a hotel room.
Mm.
I do not have.
You need a roommate. That's what you need. You need to find a roommate that's gonna.
I need something.
It's gonna be
I
tough.
I need a gig. If someone hired me for a gig or sponsored my travel, I would be there. I would work for somebody. I've got my press badge, and I've got my Showstoppers invitation already done. So I'm into all the good stuff, and I need that. But hey, backing up to MVP Summit. So Jim and I are there. We arrive on Sunday, November the 1st. So we're there from the 1st to the 5th. So if anybody is out in Redmond, Seattle, Tacoma area, actually you need to be in the Redmond General Microsoft area. We could possibly arrange something for a meetup, and that includes Microsoft employees. We've met some really cool folks out there doing that. So. Yeah.
Hey Dave, I will say if you come out, I'm going to be bringing some Talk.to T-shirts with me to the Redmond out there. If we do a meetup, they sent me a bunch of T-shirts. I've been trying to figure out a way to give them away. And so if you meet Sarah, we'll get one of these. He's going to pick us up at the airport and drive it. But if you want one of the T-shirts, connect up with us, and I've got a bunch of these, so I'll bring them along. And we'll get rid of them. They'll, by the end of the week, I'll be giving them to MVPs and stuff like that. But I've got a bunch, and you know what I've actually got? They sent me 2 and 3 extra large shirts. Right? Those are gold,
Those are gold.
For the tech guys, right? I hate to say that, but they are gold, the 2 and 3 extra large. So I've got a few of those too. So if you're out in the Redmond area, we'd love to see you, give you a T-shirt. It'd be more fun just to hang out with you. But we got a T-shirt. We'll say thanks to the guys over at talk.to for giving those to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that. As I rip my earbud out of my ear. So I mentioned Skimlinks early in the show. If you have a blog or a WordPress blog or a forum or something, you should consider monetizing it with Skimlinks. Skimlinks is it's a small JavaScript that you can put in your HTML, and there's a WordPress plugin that does this for you, that will monetize links. Like if the guys in the forums put a link to a hard drive and you click Newegg, and it'll take you straight to Newegg, and it'll monetize that. So somebody buys that hard drive, I get a couple pennies back, and if enough people buy hard drives, I might be able to pay for hosting for the month. So that's really cool. Now the cool thing is I can refer you to Skimlinks if you have a blog. If you just have a even if it's just like a side business or something, or you know someone with a side business blog, please hook them up to Skimlinks. All you got to do is go to homeservershow.com/Skimlinks. That goes via me, and you will get hooked up, and then I will get hooked up. And if the thing is if you have questions about monetizing your blog, I would love to help you out, and I would love you to sign up via that link. It will help me out as well. If you do that, please email me. I would love to mention your site on the next podcast or the blog and help you start up with your traffic. So homeservershow.com/Skimlinks if you own a blog or operate a blog or a podcast.
Super easy to set up, by the way. Skimlinks is
super easy.
Super easy.
Super. Yeah, it's really cool. It's changed the face of commission links for me.
And Dynamite
used to have to work so hard to put out just a couple of pennies a month, and this does it very easily for you. So okay, so I think that we're going to skip all the way down to my HTPC is better than yours. We started this series a long time ago, a year ago or so, and we went with pfSense versus Untangle, I think maybe even versus Sophos, and that was really popular. So it's back. My Media Center is better than yours, and we're going to pit Jim's Dell versus my HP Stream Mini. But Jim, why don't you just start out and kind of explain the history of your build and how you got there and where you're going.
Yeah, it all kind of started at the meetup, to be honest. You'd brought the HP Stream with you, and you guys were taking it apart. And after the meetup, I really had wished that I had spent more time looking at that box. I was busy kind of doing some stuff and a little distracted. And after all was said and done, I thought, man, I wish I'd spent more time looking at that HP Stream, and I didn't. And so there's been some discussion, and actually Brian in a chat, Brian Auer, who's in chat, has been super aggressive, I think the word to say, about promoting that Dell box that he's had. And he blew that thing out with 8 gig of RAM and a gigantic spinner in there and some other stuff. But we've been talking about it, and I've always thought, well, when my current HTPC that I have out there in the living room was a Core 2 Duo, HP Core 2 Duo from 7 years ago, maybe 8, whatever. I mean, one was Core 2 Duo. It seems like it was a long time ago, maybe 5 or 6 years. And I knew it would die at some point. And it was struggling a little bit, and eventually it gave up the ghost. And so it was like, okay, we'll have to figure out how to get this changed. And so I've been going around in circles looking at different things. I looked at both the HP Stream, and then I started getting that little Dell. I was just like, this is intriguing. Well, when it died the other day, I happened to be out near Best Buy, and I'm like, I'm just going to swing in and see what they've got. I had checked it out online and done some research between the two and seen, they're basically the same. The Stream comes with a little more memory. The processors are very, very similar. The HP Stream's a little more expensive unless you buy it on Woot refurbed. But the Dell box was in stock, and it was $150. And I was kind of like, man, how do you pass that thing up, right? How do you let that thing go? And so here's an interesting little story on the inside of Best Buy. So the sales guy comes by, and I'm like, "Hey, can you find these for me? They're somewhere in the store, you know." So he finds a box, and he comes back, and I was holding the demo unit in my hand, and I'm like, what would supposedly you can get a smaller hard drive in these things. I'd love to see on the inside of this. And he goes, let me go see if I can have the tech guys take it apart. So he went in the back, and the Geek Squad guys took the screws out and took it apart. And sure enough, he says on the inside of those Dell, this is a Dell Inspiron 3050 if you're playing along at home. So that's the key. These are little micro. 3050 is the key on these. And on the inside, they are built in a way. It's interesting. They're built like the old Arduino boards, where that if you'd ever see, they would stack one on top of the other, and so it's square, and you've got kind of a dual processors on top and the system boards on the bottom. You can slide. They got a bracket in there for a 2.5-inch drive, and he was super impressed. This Best Buy guy, he was like, "This is great. I might have to do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to take it home, and I'm going to put Windows 7 Media Center on it. It's just going to be awesome." Yeah, except no, that actually is a lot harder to do.
It's not awesome.
That is a lot harder to do, and I'm still not to that point where I've figured out how to get Windows 7 on that. I get a blue screen of death when I boot it up, and it won't seem to get past it. Even it's got a legacy and a UEFI mode that's on there. I've tried both. I've tried all the different. I was up till 3 in the morning last night trying to get this thing going. It will just not take Windows 7. From that, not that I could figure out. I'm sure there's some kind of way. If you want to, drop that in the comments here, at homeservershow.com on the show, that'd be awesome. Or just contact me through the forums, one of the way or the other. But Dave, I could not get Windows 7 on it to save my life. Did you ever try on the HP Stream? Did you try to get Windows 7 on that thing? Or were you successful with that?
That was my goal, is to put Windows 7 on it, because that's what I'm comfortable with Media Center, right? Kind of old school guy.
Yeah.
Now, if you're reaching us for the first time, my backstory on this goes back to 2007, 2008, and I've got an Atom processor. So I think much slower than your Core 2. I don't know. I would have to compare them. I don't even remember which one.
In the day when we were talking about this, I bought an Atom a D2 525 in the early generations of Atom when we were talking about this on the show way back when. Not powerful enough to run Media Center, right? I did it. I put it on there. It was not great. So that goes back to that day as well.
Yeah. I just searched it on Google right now, and it comes up. So search the word TiVo Center, all one word, TiVo Center, and you'll come up with one of the links will be straight to Home Server Show. Converting a TiVo Series 1 into a Windows Media Center. So I took a Sony Series 1 box, and I wanted it to look comfortable in my living room. I didn't want to have a big box, and I really didn't like back in the day where you had the 2U flat looking HTPC boxes with big sharp corners, and I just didn't like it. So I gutted the TiVo, I threw in the motherboard and all this stuff. I cut a slot in it, and I put a slot loading drive, so you'd stick it in there and it would suck it in, and then you'd hit eject and boink, it'd spit it out. It was really cool. It was just way underpowered. I mean,
yeah,
Windows 7 ran on it okay, but it was way underpowered, and I put up with it forever. And I do not know why. And I literally had a budget of several $100s, anywhere from $300 to $500, to buy a new motherboard, all new internals, and retrofit my TiVo Center. And then this HP Stream Mini Desktop came along, that little blue guy. I saw it at CES last year. I was at PepCom, and I got to take pictures of it and reported on it, and it was awesome that we got to take it apart, and it was super cool. And I thought maybe this should be where I head next, is one of these little guys. Well, Jim, life takes over. You put it off, you put it off, you put it off, and then one day it was on Woot for maybe $150, $160 refurb, and I love me a good Woot refurb. I have to try it. I bought it, and the first stumbling block with the HP Stream Mini is, and I'll put this link in the chat room, is when you do take it apart, you can upgrade the devil out of this thing. And I think it's episode number 287. We talked with Dwayne Robinson, and he upgraded his, and we've got all the links to those parts. I'll put those back in this the show notes for this podcast as well. And it's got a SATA port on it, and it's got a cage inside of it for a drive. You can put a spinner in there. You can put an SSD drive. You can pull out the M-SATA drive, the little chip hard drive. You can pull that out and put in a brand new one if you need more storage. And it also has a SIM slot. You can put in a brand new SIM slot. So HP Stream Mini is a very upgradable piece of hardware. It comes with a Celeron processor. It's not a speed demon. If you need that, you can upgrade. HP's got a bigger one. It's called it's a desktop pavilion kind of box, but it's $300. And I put in, I can't remember the size, a 320 spinner. I don't need an SSD,
right?
But I didn't have the cable, so I hit the forums. What do you do when you need to fix something or mod something? HomeServerShow.com forums, and I asked about the SATA cable, and one of the guys, I think it was Schoondoggy, popped out with a link. eBay, China, $12. I'm in. Ordered the cable, took it to the Home Server Show meetup 2015, and I just threw the parts out there and said, you guys, if you want to play with this, do it. They were tearing it up like crazy. You had to modify the SATA cable to get it to go in. But
yeah, it's not. Don't think of this as like a traditional SATA connection where you can get you can get the regular cable and make it work. This is
it's
7
cable.
It's got 7 gold lines on it. And
yeah, it's like ribbon cable, kind of
it's really
business
thin,
like that. It
breaks
not
out
that
into
big.
the full cable with power included. By the way, both the Dell and the HP Stream use the same exact cable for this to add this drive. So if you go out there, it wasn't hard to find. Actually, Brian did a post on HomeServerShow.com where he is outlining that with his Dell. And the part number that he put in the post is the one that you can Google on and get to eBay and get that cable if you're interested in doing this, a $15 cable. I was reading, Dave, I found a thread on a site that they had been talking about this since like March. Mm-hmm. And it had 60 or 70 posts. And they had actually at one point in time, they didn't know of a cable from like March through like April or August. They didn't know a cable existed, and somebody found the cable in that post and put it, because it doesn't belong. The cable you can't in the U.S. It's hard to get, and doesn't belong. It's like a laptop. It's one you would use inside a laptop to make that work. So It was interesting to find how those people found that. It's for
Yeah, it works really well. I'll put that link in the show notes. If you've stumbled upon this, searching on these keywords, yes, we have that cable. I got it for like $12, $13, free shipping out of China. It's going to take you a week or two to get it, but I've ordered enough stuff out of China. It's no big deal. Patience, and fired it up. Everything worked great. Now, my HP Stream Mini had a recovery partition on it. So we captured, I think, I've got a USB stick around here somewhere, and captured, there it is, HP right there. Captured the recovery partition, and then the guys at the meetup they just weren't as aggressive as I was. I'm like, blow that thing away, and let's put some Windows 7 on it. And they wanted to make sure I could get my recovery partition, so they erred on the side of safety, which was the correct thing to do. I did manage to make the partition, and then I blew it away. That's one good thing about the Windows 7 installer, is you boot up with a USB stick, and it gives you that little, you get the drive section where you say, here's a list of drives I see, and I'm like, take it, delete it, delete it, delete it. Made it one big hard drive, which is only 32 gigs, and so it's very tight. And started installing, and it sees that second drive. It's beautiful, Jim. It's beautiful. So I get Windows 7 booted up, and of course there's all kinds of errors in the logs. No LAN driver, no audio driver, no HDMI, audio out over HDMI. It was a mess. It was just a mess. And I fiddled with it and I fiddled with it, and I got those HP packages. If you've ever downloaded HP drivers, you download an executable. You got a sneaker net because you don't have
You get the
any
network on there. Yeah.
yeah network. So
Yeah,
you
you
put
got
it
to
on a
put it
USB drive, you take it over there, you pop it in. It was a mess. I could not get it to work the way I wanted it to work. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to try this with 8.1. It came with 8.1 on it, or 8, I can't remember.
Yeah, 8.1 with Bing, I think, is what comes on those.
Yes, it did. So I was lucky. I was a lucky soul, but you can do this as well. I don't know if they're still available. I had purchased this last year. If you're on the audio podcast, you are missing me holding up a box. It's called the Windows 8.1 Pro Pack. I do believe that you can order this if you simply type in, I will get you the words to upgrade your Windows, and it's called Add Features to Windows 8.1. You can hit the start button and start typing Add Features, and it will come up, and you can purchase this. I think it's $10, Jim. I don't know. Somebody correct me
I
if
don't know
I'm
if it's that
wrong.
cheap anymore.
The
I
Pro
think
Pack. It used to be $10.
if you go from Windows 8.1 Pro to the Pro Pack, I think it is. But if you're
Okay.
going from Home to the Pro Pack, I think you're going to pay $99 and then that on top of it.
Okay. Well, this is move up from Windows 8.1 to 8.1 Pro with Media Center. It was designed for that. And I thought that's the direction I'm going to go because Windows 10 does not have a supported Media Center installed on it. So that is the route that I took. And I did run into some hiccups, but I documented every single one of those hiccups. I've got a guide just waiting to be written and finished, and that's how to create a Media Center PC out of a Windows 8.1 computer. Now you think, well, how difficult could it be? Well, don't forget, you're going to take this box from a desk that you're sitting close to with a keyboard and a mouse and a monitor right in front of you, and you're going to put that under your TV. You're going to walk back 10 feet and point a remote at it. So that's the problem. You're not going to have a keyboard. You're not going to have a mouse. Now, I know a lot of folks keep keyboards and mice, in their home theater, but mine is it's a family entertainment system that has a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old and a spouse. Keyboard and a mouse are not going to work. It has to work like I have to point something at it and poke it with a remote. It has to work like that. And it has, honestly, Jim, it has to be flawless. Right. I don't know about the tech in your house, but my tech has to be, sometimes is a little jicky.
Yeah, Sarah does a nice job. She does a nice job of negotiating it. We do have a keyboard and mouse in there, but there are times we just like the remote. We have one of those like HP, the old Media Center remotes that came with it when you bought the Media Center box. They still work. If you can find those on eBay, they're great to have. It's just a little HP. I don't know if it's infrared or whatever, but it's USB, plugs into the back. You just put that somewhere where the remote can see it, and it works great. And that's a great retrofit for one of these. And I had planned to do that as well, is just plug that in the back of that and make that work. But yeah, that's a great little add-on to have for that. But it's just got to work. You're right.
Yeah. So if you can find them on Amazon pretty easily, a Media Center remote, and it comes with a USB IR receiver, and you plug that into a USB, put that somewhere where IR can get to it, and you're on your couch hitting it. And that's all I've got, Jim. I've got power, Ethernet, HDMI, and a USB receiver, and that little box is sitting there, and it's tearing up Windows Media Center. The menus they're zippy. I love it. It's doing a really good job, and I couldn't be any happier. Now, I'm running actually right behind me. I'm on the top floor of my house, which has the best vantage point of antennas. So I have an antenna behind this wall, and I have a short, excuse me, a 5-foot run of coax to a splitter to my HD home runs, and that splits out to 2 HDHRs, jumps right on the network where we're podcasting right now. We do live podcasts, and there's video, TV streaming downstairs to the main distribution hub, and then that goes back out through the house, and it works flawlessly.
Yeah. No, that's a good solution. It's good. So it's 8.1 with Media Center in that box. It's like the best of both worlds have collided for you, right? The Pentium processors have caught up in speed and efficiency and size and heat, right? All those things are great, which we didn't have like 5 years ago when this came out, right? And Windows 8 got more efficient than Windows 7. And so you're running a more efficient OS at this point, and so you really are getting the best of both worlds from that point when you put that on that little box. I won't, that upgrade, I'm not going to throw another $100 at it, right? So for me, that 8.1 upgrade isn't going to work. I actually blew away the partition this morning and from a USB stick, grabbed Windows 10 FRMSDN subscription and began to load that. And I had to drop it down to legacy mode to make that all work. Windows 10 is on it. And what I decided to do, I thought, hey, wait a minute. A couple months ago, my wife's PC died. I took an old Fujitsu Core i3 first gen, so Core i3 530 from the very first gen Core i5, but it's a great little efficient little box. This was one of those 245 deal Fujitsu deals. Remember way back when those were out? And we were making home servers out of them, which was awesome, absolutely. Right? Yeah, we were making great home servers. So they've got some interesting drive configurations inside them where you can stack 4 or 5 drives. I can't remember. I have to look inside there. But it's got a tray. Actually, if you think of the box going like this, it's got a door that opens like this, and you can put 4 drives right there on the door. And then screw it back in, and they're just sitting there in a good spot. So that had gone upstairs in the emergency when we lost her PC upstairs. I just took that out, threw Windows 10 on it, and made that her PC. Well, that would make a great little media center box, especially if I wanted to throw a couple drives in, maybe put Drive Pool on it. Spend a few dollars, put Drive Pool, stripe a few of those. I've got a couple 10 drives laying around that are, they're in that 350 to 500 category, right? Where by themselves they don't make one of those does not make a great media center drive because you fill that up pretty fast. But you take 3 or 4 of them, put them together, throw Drive Pool on there, and make a little Windows 7 with Drive Pool, and maybe get a terabyte worth of storage. She was using a PC before, so it's not like that's going to change. And then we got to keep a wireless keyboard and mouse out of the deal, so we're going to replace those downstairs and leave that as part of the setup. In the Dell system, in the Dell setup, it comes with a Logitech wireless keyboard and mouse. Not the most expensive thing in the world, but a pretty nice set that comes with the universal USB plug for it as well that will drive any of their products that use that universal dongle that they have. And yeah, I said dongle. And so we're going to make the switch. So she's I think working on it right now. She's making sure all her, I logged in as her. All that Windows 10 stuff started coming forward for her. It brought her, her screen and a lot of her settings came, all the stuff that she had set, the configuration she had, came forward with her Windows login. And so she's going to upgrade it, and then we're going to take the Mini, the 3050 is going to go upstairs in the kitchen for now, where she uses her PC. And that Core i3 is going to come back downstairs and be the new media center, run Windows 7. It's perfect for it. It was kind of built for it. And will be a good little box. I'll swap out the video card to give it a little more power when we go in there. But so that will be the new media center, kind of go back to the way it was before with some extended drives, and we'll run Windows 10. By the way, Windows 10 runs really well on that Dell box. So it's a good little handy. If you're just going to surf and do some, somebody, I think it was Tony was saying he was thinking about getting one of those, slap it on the back of a monitor and use it as an all-in-one instead of, some of those all-in-ones can be pretty expensive, pretty pricey. I mean, I think they start about $600. You can get a nice IPS monitor, 23-inch IPS monitor, probably $250. Do you think what now? $250, $300? Another $150 for this thing on the back?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
and
on,
they're small. They'll sit just right there on the desk, and they've got USB slots in there, so
yeah,
you'd be able to
SD slot.
get to them
Yeah,
easily. Yeah,
yeah. No, it's a good little box.
upgradable,
Oh yeah,
just so upgradable.
yeah.
Y-
Hey,
You
I
know, and
ordered
that's
I ordered 4 gig of RAM for it tonight. $20.
$20. See, I'm thinking about it,
$20.
Jim,
Yeah.
but honestly, I'm thinking I'm going to keep my money in my pocket because I have not ran into an issue that I have felt that I need to upgrade the RAM in that box.
Yeah.
I've just not. So I'm like,
I'm a big believer in 4 gig for Windows, no matter what.
sure.
That's just kind of where I land. I mean, I was looking at the resource monitor on it, and it was 1.3 out of 1.9. I know it's caching at that point. You're just like, it's they build some buffer in, and you
Hmm.
kind of know that's happening. I'd rather have 4 gig, and then the big drawback that HP Stream has 2 DIMM slots, where the Dell only has one. So if you're going to get the HP Stream and it comes with two, you could get a 2 gig, put it in next to it for channel. Make sure you get the same kind of memory when you do it, and you could get 4 out of that kind of dual channel. I don't think it's technically dual channel, but you could get 4 that way. In my case, if I was going to do 4 or 8, I would have to buy a whole new SIM. I got to take the 2 out, and then what do you do? Like, what do you do with a 2 gig SIM that goes
Yeah.
in nothing, right? You're just like, oh, this is gonna go in the landfill. That's the one problem with that. You're like, what do you do with that thing? So I am gonna upgrade it to 4, and then I'm gonna get the cable. I put a 320 gig hard drive in it that will be storage for Sarah for her PC if she wants to
Hmm.
store any files or stuff, or where it's going to be larger than 3 or 4 gig, which she never does, by the way. That drive will never get used. But I bought the cable, I put the drive in. I'm gonna,
Hmm.
I'm gonna install it, so it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, that one of the problems with the HP Stream Mini is the 32 gig hard drive that it comes with everything installed on it, and
Yeah.
that can get overwhelmed quickly if it's not managed. Now, with a PC that is operating as a media center, you're able to somewhat manage that. You put that second drive on there, and that's where all the recordings go. You take off the recorded TV on C because one show it would fill up and you'd be done. But you put it
Well,
over.
with Windows 10, you got Storage Sense, so that you could do that automatically
Hmm.
and say, hey, from here on out, any files, any music, any pictures, anything, right, those go to the new secondary drive, and so that's something you could set up automatically for the family, so those they wouldn't have to think about where to store them; they'll just automatically get stored there.
Yeah, absolutely. That works good. And being under my TV, there's no problems. All the only I/O operations are updates, and that could overwhelm it someday. But recorded TV, and it grabs that recorded TV right off that spinner that I put on there, and I map it to, I call it my home server. It's a 2012 server, but I have a huge recorded TV folder where I've transferred stuff that I want to keep. I don't know why. I'm a digital HTPC hoarder,
Order.
but there's like Christmas shows, or
Yeah.
it's a very monkey Christmas, Curious George show, just stuff I've kept, and it's easy. It just maps a drive right to the server, and if you
Right.
click play, it just starts streaming. It's a beautiful thing. You can upgrade that SSD. That works great, and
And upgraded pretty big. I mean, I forget what the max. So maybe it's a 128. I think is the max on that. Now the difference, there is a difference. Like you can the HP Stream max memory upgrade 16 gig, where on the Dell it's only 8. So they're only going to allow 8 gig upgrade on that thing. So don't try and put a bigger any more RAM in there than that. On that M-SATA, I think in Brian, you're out in chat. Maybe you can pop that in there. I think it's 128 that's available. That's probably the most reasonable size to go up. I mean, guys, let's be honest. You start throwing too much at this, you should have just bought a bigger PC, right? It's one of those kinds of things. It's like pretty soon, you're into, Brian was talking about putting a terabyte SSD in there, and you're like, what? Okay, you have a pretty expensive box at this point.
Mhm.
So the form factor, what's cool about these is the form factor is perfect to go underneath your TV. That's what these things are really designed well. And I think the Dell looks fabulous underneath because most people's TVs are black, and it's black.
It's black.
And it just where the HP streams are blue or
Shiny
gray
blue.
or white.
Shiny blue. It looks
Yeah.
great under my TV. I love it.
Do you?
The thing is it looks so lonely where I've got this big slot where this VCR like sized TiVo box used to sit, and now there's this little baby computer sitting right in the middle. And it's amazing how much more powerful this machine is compared to size of that Atom processor that used to be.
Isn't that crazy? Brian says 256 is the max. I can't imagine on a media center you would need 256 gig on that. I mean, I think a 128 if a room. To be honest with you, the 64 would be fine, right? It takes about 24 gig for Windows 7 or Windows 8. That's pretty close, maybe up to 30. You shouldn't be doing that much on it anyways, and you should have an external, you should have another drive installed to put your, you should always put that stuff on spinners. The recorded TV should go to a spinner, not an SSD. And so yeah, 64 would be fine if you want to upgrade it. And they're not terribly expensive, under $100, I think, for those 64 gig, maybe under $75 if depending on where you get it. So that would be my recommendation.
Leaves you in a nice, comfortable spot. You're not going to worry about some process writing up the whole hard drive and making this thing stop in its place. But what I started writing down was Windows 8 is different than Windows 7. I can get around in Windows 7 to make that thing a media center, pretty easily. Although it's been a long time, I have to admit, I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this thing? The first thing was making sure I don't like mine to sleep. I don't like it to sleep. And if it does sleep, if you want to let it sleep, that's fine. It will wake up to record, but you don't want it to go completely dead to sleep. But if it does, you don't want it coming up to the password screen. That's the worst thing in the world. It's your home theaters. For mine, I know you have a keyboard and mouse, but I do not. Is having a password pop up when it comes out of sleep. So got that fixed.
We don't. No password on Windows 7 for us on the media center.
Got to fix that one.
Yep.
Auto login. When the machine boots up and it shows a desktop on your TV, everybody's going, okay, it's a computer. Where's the TV?
Right.
And you're like, it's there. Just deal with it. No. Start Media Center automatically. Yeah. Okay. Power. You got to modify the power settings in some way, shape, or fashion. You're probably going to have to get into power because they always set them to turn everything off after like 3 or 5 minutes, and it's freaking annoying, right? So you're going to have to modify the power. You got to clean up the hard drive. You're going to have to clear out those updates. And trust me, even on Windows 8 now, going to 8.1, you're going to have tons of updates. It's crazy. So I've got all this written down. I just need to.
Brian also mentions turn off Wi-Fi because you've probably plugged it. You've probably connected it, right? So turn off Wi-Fi and turn off Bluetooth. There's no reason to use Bluetooth. Both those devices have integrated Wi-Fi and Bluetooth adapters built into it. So that's a great idea.
Yep, save some power, and that allows you maybe to leave this bad boy on for a little bit longer. If it does go an hour without usage, turn off the hard drives. Turn off the hard drives, and if Media Center detects needs to record, everything will kick back on,
back up
as normal, right? One of the problems that bothered me, and I don't think it pops up in Media Center, but it always popped up, and I've got some things written down on how to turn off the on-screen keyboard. Make sure the on-screen keyboard doesn't pop up automatically, because I don't have one plugged into it, so that was always a big pain in the butt.
Dave, one of the first things Sarah said to me when I pulled this out of the box, because I came home, I'm like, hey, we're going to replace your Media Center. She's like, oh, this is great. She goes, hey, how am I going to play DVDs?
That at my house. I get you're such a geek.
Exactly. She's kind of a nerd too, which I got pretty lucky with. But she's like, what about my DVDs? Like, we still use DVDs, right? And I was like, well, I guess I'm buying an external DVD player. I could rig one up or whatever, but I'd like one of those little slot loading ones that would sit on top. Now that I'm swapping them, she never uses DVDs on the PC in the kitchen that she uses. So when I swap, there's a DVD player in the current box that I have, so that's going to be fine. But that's a consideration to think if you're still getting DVDs, these little boxes don't have and they don't have any way to modify it easily to get that done. You would need to get a external, external. The HP or the Dell comes with a USB 3 port, so you could get a USB 3 external DVD drive. Be super fast. It'd be a great way to do it. You're going to take up that USB 3 port, but that would be a way to do it. I think you could get it even no power. The USB 3 will run the power to the external drive. So something to think about there too. If you go this mini route, you kind of lose your DVD drive.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just used to, we've got a Blu-ray DVD player. If we ever need a DVD up in this area that we use, my kids and we Netflix, we're streaming.
Yeah,
it's
us too.
Unbelievable.
Us too. But every once in a while, we'll get a movie.
Yeah.
And I don't have a DVD player down there. We've always been in the media center, right? It's always been part of the media center. So if you're replacing one for one, I think it's something to think about.
Think about it, yeah. And I keep looking over that at my N54L. I've got an external that I like to have. Take it, around the house wherever you need it.
Yeah.
$20-$30. You can get an external. This one's bus powered only. There's no USB power adapter, so I'm not sure if that would affect DVD playback or not, but
no,
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. DVD is really old technology, right? You think about it. I mean, it's super old. So, and it's not that, doesn't take that much. Even Blu-ray doesn't take that much. The chips that are in those Blu-ray players are not very sophisticated or complicated to make that work. So it shouldn't take it. It should work.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to install a Sophos UTM software, and they wanted it on. You had to burn it. You couldn't put it on a USB stick because it would error out. And I'm ripping through the closet like, God, I gotta have blank media in here somewhere. Things are crashing. Like, oh crap! Did we really used to do this? And then I found that spool.
Yeah.
You know that spool that the CDs and the DVDs are stacked on? Yeah. But you kept it because you started stacking on the stuff that you burned, maybe even backups. There it is.
There you go, right there. There's the spool. You know how long it's been since I've even touched this thing?
See, it's wrong, Jim, that it was within arm's reach of you. That's wrong.
Down here, I have a little thing right here. That the stuff in there I haven't looked at in like 5 years.
Yeah, I've got a closet full of that crap. And I found my spool full of old music and something labeled like 80s music and Twisted Sister, and I'm like, oh my god, playlist.
It's just funny though that tech as we go through, how quickly it's like it's not obsolete. You're holding on to it. You're going to need it. It's not obsolete, and then one day it's gone. It's just you're like, am I really going to use this cable anymore? Or
I know. I got rid of all my IDE cables at Meetup, and I put them in that. We made a box of crap, a bag of crap, and gave it away Woot style. Rob Dentler from Microsoft won that. We made him open it right there on site. It was awesome. Have we missed anything in our show notes?
I think we're good. I will. I'm waiting. So she's gonna upgrade her PC, make it just the way she wants it. Then I'll take it upstairs, swap it out, and that'll become that. And then the Core i3 will come down. It'll probably take me a day. Windows 7. Oh God, if you haven't installed Windows 7 in a while, that's a whole day worth of work. On those damn updates. They just take even SP1, like the most recent one you can get from Microsoft. I bet there's 600 updates that have to be applied.
I think I did download the one that has it slipstreamed in to the installer. So I think there is a package.
That's available on MSDN. Okay.
Yeah, I was lucky in that regard. Because I did the whole thing and did all the updates, and then found out that I wasn't happy with
It
it.
wasn't
So
working.
I
I
moved
couldn't even
it.
get it on the Dell. I wouldn't even. It blue screened every time, no matter what kind of configuration. Windows 7 blue screened every time,
And I
and it was just
forgot I had this. Actually, Jim, this has got a little thing here called Company Store.
yeah. I
I
remember you
bought this
buying
in
that. I was with you when you bought that.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
how am
and
I
I
going to
remember you
spend this
buying it. I'm
last
thinking
money?
it was $23 when you bought it. I remember this. Like
I was
those were on
never
the,
going to use that.
those. I'm like, what the Dave? That's the dumbest thing you've ever
Boom.
bought. I remember when you bought that. I'm thinking, should I get a couple of those? Because you're really good about that. You're really good at like, oh, I should probably have one of these. Just
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm never going to use it. So
Yeah, I'm the fool that actually bought a license to Windows Home Server 2011 because I used it.
I did too back in the day.
Yeah. I remember
Back
when
in the
they
day,
went
I
on
bought
sale.
a
We bought
yeah.
them.
Oh yeah, yeah. I bought a couple for $50.
Yeah. Even though I don't use it anymore, but hey, I was trying to pay my dues, right?
Yeah, no, you did the right thing. And there's been a couple times I wish I had bought that, but in the end, now today I'm glad I didn't try to make that. I don't want that thing to be in the media center now. I'm content with like, you know what? I'm going to bring a PC down. I'm going to run media center like it was intended to be run on a box that has some power, that's got a DVD drive in it, that's got some storage space associated with it. Got the space already there for it. It's not like I already had a cabinet where this PC was sitting in, and I think the other one would look cooler, but this will be more functional. So that's where I land on our media center. This Core i3 540, I think is what I sell, 540, will last another 5 years. It's a good that should barring any, it should be good for 5 more. And I'm banking on, to be honest with you, in 2 years, Xbox One has all that functionality built into it, and we're all moving to Xbox One. So I think that's but it's still not ready. It's not ready for prime time. So
It's not.
this will bridge the gap for the next 2 years until it's ready.
Yep, I agree. And we're going back to Redmond, so who knows what kind of crazy stuff we'll buy this time. And I think there's an Xbox One in my future.
Nice.
Our 360
Oh.
just red ringed.
Oh.
Finally,
Yep.
finally gave
Yeah.
up the ghost. The boys
Yeah.
melted it. So
Will they sell the Xbox Ones on the family discount cards that we get when we sometimes show up at meetup and things like that? I think.
I don't know. I really
Because
don't.
right now, if you're in the market for Xbox, now is the time to buy. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some great deals at Christmas time.
We're waiting for the Black Friday craziness deal.
Right.
We'll get one. We'll go to Walmart.
It's $350,
down.
which is better than any cheap PC, right? If you're thinking about that, I'm not ready to put that in my living room and have that be the media center. Right? Like I said, I think we have a year or two before that's really
it's
in
only
place.
single channel PC card.
Yeah,
and
one play, no record.
No record.
And it's got to be able to see the tuners.
No record, no go. Not in this household.
Yeah.
At least have to have a dual channel. I could get away with just 2.
Yeah.
4 would be nice.
And the guide's got to be flawless. Like the guide has to work. It can't be this. To be honest, Media Center. There's a big change on Media Center with the guide, and nobody knows about it, right?
Speaking of guide, if you're having trouble or you have a Media Center that's dead, I wrote a post in the forums on Media Center guide not downloading and how I fixed mine. I fixed it twice, and both instances were different. Every one was different.
Me too.
It was crazy.
First, I had to update the zip code, and then it worked. Then the zip code didn't work, and I had to go in and do a few little editing and to get it to work, and then finally it worked. Mm-hmm. So I'm not looking forward. That's one of the things I'm not looking forward to this weekend when I install Windows 7 on that box to bring it back up as a media center. Is fixing the guide.
Well, you take a look at my post. Okay. My post has, I'm going to put it in the show notes as well, guide fix. And it's got both of them. It's got the zip code fix and it's got the DNS fix on it. Both of them. And if one doesn't work, the other one will.
It's in the forums? So homeservershow.com/forums. Is that right?
I'll go ahead and it's in the forums.
I was just maybe somebody was listening to us that didn't know.
In the forums.
Yeah, it's in the forums.
Server Show. Yeah. It's in the show notes as well.
Okay, good.
Yes, all you YouTubers, if you're interested in HTPCs, home storage, home automation, all that kind of good stuff. We do have an awesome forum, and any kind of question you can come up with, these guys will answer. HomeserverShow.com/forums, or just go to the blog there and look around. Okay, Jim, that's what did we just do here? 291.
Is that where we're at? We've been doing this a while. Hey, this December, Home Gadget Geek celebrates 5 years, and so we've been doing this. I think I started with you the April before that. So we've been podcasting together 5 years, 5.5 years now, which is kind of crazy to think that.
Yeah, this one's since 2008. So
yeah,
it is crazy. Good
stuff.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Thanks for tuning in live. Hit the subscribe button, man. This YouTube channel, you never know what's going to show up. If I get gear in and it's not a tablet, then it goes on this channel, and that could be home automation. I've got a cool thing that I did with the Google Chromecast audio. All that good stuff came in, and I unboxed it and I put it on Home Server Show's YouTube channel. So this is where you get it. Hit the subscribe button. Don't forget Twitter. You can follow Jim at jcollison. That's JCOLLISON. You can follow me at McCabe, IOMCCABEIO. And also the Geeks Network, thegeeksnetwork.com, for more great podcasts just like this one. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to see you next week. Thanks, Jim.
Good night.
Thanks, live streamers. Thanks, YouTubers.
Tomorrow, speaking of getting gadgets in, I just got this Elixir boom box. I don't know if you can. It's out of the box. I don't have it with me, so think I took it to work. It's like one of those portable speakers that you can charge up and take with you, and it's got wireless calling in it as well. So when it pairs with your phone, it becomes the microphone and speaker for your call. That's pretty cool. So I took it to work. It sat on my desk. I've been playing, I pop in, and when I pop in the office, I'll throw some Bluetooth music, bring up Amazon or whatever, play some Sade. That has been kind of my choice of music lately. I don't know why. I just kind of gotten into her music, but pretty cool. So we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow night, but I'll have a review coming out on that as well. So Home Gadget Geeks coming up.
Awesome.
Yeah, a little $50 brick. That's the thing. Like those ones from Logitech and some of those other ones are in the hundreds, but at least $100. $50.
Nokia used to make one. They sold it in the Microsoft store, and it had a magnet on it. It was pretty cool. You could just clip it onto something, and that wherever you put it would act as its resonating, surface for the low frequencies. It was really kind of pretty cool. Plus, they were colorful.
The original purpose of my box was the backpack server Mike wanted for the meetup when he's going to attend. Yeah, we'll get Mike out at the meetup next year.
Yeah, hopefully all his stuff is running smoothly by then.
Football season wrap up for you?
It is done.
Good.
We are done. It's schoolwork now. Now we're into we ride into science fair.
Yeah.
We go into the scholastic part.
Scoondog asked what happened to Spanish guitar. I still dig me some Spanish guitar on Pandora. If you're on Pandora and you want to feel like you're in a hacienda in Spain, on the Riviera, is that in Spain? Mallorca would be Spain for sure.
Mallorca. Just got back from there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. And you want a little Spanish guitar playing in the background. It's good. Pandora, search Spanish guitar.
Now, it's all about Alexa. Play me some "Come On, Feel the Noise."
She'll play some Top Gun too. If you
try it.
Danger Zone is a good one. We play off Alexa quite a bit. Alexa, play me some Danger Zone.
Everybody has the go-to song. When someone comes in and says, "What's that?" Oh, okay. You ask it the weather, and you ask it something else, and you say, "Tell me a joke," and then you play a song. You got to play music for someone,
right? Yeah.
Mine is it's from Pulp Fiction. Now I've lost it. Son of a Preacher Man. I'll always say that when I say, "Alexa, play Son of a Preacher Man." And because it starts out with that, just go play it. Everybody listening right now, go play Son of a Preacher Man. But you got to play it on something with good bass and good response.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that Alexa, she can play it, and it sounds
yeah.
so good coming from.
Say Alexa level 10, and she'll just crank it for you. Other Jim said in chat he's hoping to go with the HD Home Run DVR rather than the Xbox. And I have high hopes for that DVR as well, but it was supposed to be out in September. And that was a Kickstarter, right? The date was September. It's come and gone. I don't see any software yet. So this DVR stuff is not easy, apparently, because if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
And there's Dave. It's got to be that guide that just screws everybody up, right? Not the negotiation to get the guide data, because that's what you got to pay for. That's what everybody pays for.
Well, and I don't mind paying for it. I've got my backup back here, and it's called Tableau, and that thing works crazy good. I mean, crazy good. It works fantastic, and you got to pay for guide data on it.
Yeah.
So
how much is that?
Never let me down. I don't know. You can play it,
and it'll record DVR.
Oh yeah. I got a 2-channel, and you can buy a 4-channel.
So it has the tuner built into it, right? So you're paying $199, I think, for the 2-tuner. So the tuners are built in for your antennas.
Let's look. Buy now. 2-tuner DVR is it's $219. That's pretty expensive. 4-tuner DVR is $299.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you buy that, but I mean, think about.
And
I paid $170 for my HTPC.
Yeah. It's in the same boat.
A hard drive, $50. If you can do a RAM upgrade, a cable upgrade, I'm into it over $200. So, where to buy Tableau? Amazon's got to be cheaper. Come on.
Rennie says that's been in beta. It's been in private beta for a long time since they launched. I don't know. I'm skeptical. I think they would have had it out by now if it was going well.
I would be skeptical of anything that had to go to Kickstarter.
Yeah, maybe it might work. Maybe it was certainly reasonable if you jumped in on it. I would not feel bad about losing money on that Kickstarter project if they never got it out, because I don't think it was terribly expensive. And if they do get it out, it's a pretty good deal. But I haven't seen it yet. I'd like to see it. Well, I'll tell you what I'd like.
Subscription, Tableau. Sorry to jump on you, Jim. Monthly guide's $5.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Annual guide, $50.
Oh yeah, you do.
Lifetime, $150.
3 years.
Lifetime guide subscription. All active Tableau units associated to your account will have guide data. So you pay $150, and you can put a couple in your house.
If you're a bar, that probably makes sense. If you're you're using one of those things,
you get a 30-day trial too.
Yeah.
So you could get it from Amazon. If you didn't like it, you're not out anything. You can still return it. You're not paying for that guide. So I had to log into my account to find that. I still have an account. I let mine lapse, Jim. My Tableau.
Did you?
Yeah.
The guide data.
Yeah. If I ever need it, I'll turn it back on. I'm still an advocate. So.
Well, and I just, we've got a media center out in the living room. I have a media center here. We had some problems with recording one of the shows. Sarah it wouldn't record. She has too much stuff recording. Oh, yeah, limited. The box could only record so many, or maybe some. So I was recording one back for her here, and then I, on the server, had created a spot for that stuff, and then I would just, after I watch it, I would just move it over, and then she could watch it. And it would pop up, and when she was done, she could just delete it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Media Center is so good.
It is, and it's so wrong that someday we will have to find something different, and hopefully there'll be an answer out there. But I'm telling you right now, if Microsoft, their guide data cratered, I would activate that Tableau behind me in a heartbeat, and I'd be fine.
That is the fear. There is that, Ian Dixon started that is media center dead yet.com. Have you seen that?
No.
So yeah,
Is
is media center dead yet.com. And you can go out there, and they're running an automated script that checks the guide data once a day or something like that. We still have guide data through October 16th, 2015, which is tomorrow. We got 2 days. So isn't that funny that they created this is media center dead yet?
Oh, now I see the code from Josh Pollard.
Oh, maybe it was Josh. I think you're right.
About says Josh Pollard. So that the DMZ.
The DMZ guys.
The DMZ
Good
guys.
good catch. Yeah. Yep. 2005 Josh Pollard. Good catch.
That's funny.
Isn't that great? I saw that. What was I doing? I saw maybe it was in a Twitter feed or it was in Google Plus or something like that. Which, by the way, Dave, what do you think about Google Plus? I mean, Google's essentially kind of cut it off
You know
from
what?
everything else.
I know since Google has finally, pretty much abandoned. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere yet, right? I've started using it more and more, but there's a reason behind that, and it's this thing.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
on Project Fi. And Project Fi, if you are a Fi subscriber, you are a member, or you can apply to be a member of a Google Plus community. And only Fi members can get in. So they know your email address. You're on Fi. So, boom. That's the other thing, Jim. I've got, when's my phone coming? It's not coming before I go to Florida. I go to Florida next week.
Oh,
But
man.
it'll be, I should be able to take this new phone, the Nexus 6P. I think I'll be able to take it to Redmond. I hope.
Oh.
Otherwise, I got to take my Nexus 6.
Yeah.
So, which is not horrible. It's just, it's big and it's unwieldy. This thing's ginormous.
See, Kevin.
Yeah. See you, Goon. Yeah, I got to shut off the live video feed anyway.
All right.
Got to get rolling. Put out a podcast. So I'm off next week, guys, YouTubers.
Okay.
Make sure you hang out on Jim's Twitter feed so you can watch.
Yeah, Home Gadget Geeks just comes back up. I took 2 weeks off. I haven't done that in 5 years, and I took 2 weeks off, 2 weeks in a row. You wore me out at the meetup.
Yeah, you started working quite a bit too.
Dude, work's been killing me, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, live streamers.
Thanks, live streamers. Good night. Thanks, everybody on YouTube who just popped in. Go out to homeservershow.com. We appreciate you. Good night.